For generations, Miami has been a haven for those fleeing communist tyranny in South Africa. I mean, if you take a look at what's going on in parts of South Africa, look at South Africa, what's going on. Look at South America, what's going on.
When are Republicans and the mainstream media going to start asking questions and showing some concern at all about the cognitive health of Donald Trump? When is Jake Tapper, the guy who cashed all kinds of checks when he wrote his book about the cognitive decline and situation with Joe Biden? When is the Jake Tapper branded alarm bell going to start ringing? A ding, a ding, a ding. A ding, a ding, a ding, Jake Tapper. When are we going to see that? Because Donald Trump on a daily basis makes gaffes that should be making bigger headlines, bigger news. In this first clip I'm going to play for you, he confuses South Africa and South America and floats seamlessly back and forth between the two. He's talking about the migration of people escaping communism and the dangers of communism and tyranny, landing in Miami from South Africa. He means South America. And it's just a furious, dangerous mix of idiocy and tyranny from Donald Trump and dementia and just sheer decline. And they won't give us any answers about exactly what his state is. They live in a fantasy land about where he is, about who he is, about what he is. A fantasy land. Watch this.
To those places. For generations, Miami has been a haven for those fleeing communist tyranny in South Africa. I mean, if you take a look at what's going on in parts of South Africa, look at South Africa, what's going on. Look at South America, what's going on. You know, I'm not going to, we have a G20 meeting in South Africa. South Africa shouldn't even be in the Gs anymore because what's happened there is bad. I'm not going. I told them I'm not going. I'm not going to represent our country there. It shouldn't be there. Take a look at what's happening in different parts of South America. Take a look at what's happening in different parts of the world. But now the Democrats.
Again, this is scary, dangerous, and it is fantasy land. Maybe that's the thumbnail, is fantasy land. Mark that down, Chris. That's the thumbnail. Fantasy land. In the interview with Bret Baier yesterday, he made a pronouncement, a proclamation. He made a claim that just, to say it strains credulity or just doesn't mesh with the actual situation on the ground is laughable. This is an all caps ha 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 moment. This is a ridiculous thing that he said. He's talking about tariffs, talking about the economy. And he says, he said that we're the hottest economy in the world. We're hot as a pistol now, this country. We're on top of things, even though prices are on the rise. Inflation ticked up every month since like September, October. It's ticking. We're seeing inflation on the rise. A million job loss. This year alone, 153,000 in October. And Donald Trump is saying that without his tariffs, without the damage to the economy he's done to the world and more specifically to the United States, we would be in a global depression. It is so, here's the clip. It is so stupid. It's even beyond explanation. It's beyond commentary. It leaves me speechless. It's so stupid. Watch the President of the United States say it.
Saying you're happy with what you came out of it.
If I didn't have tariffs, we would right now, the entire world would be in a depression. Because, that wasn't a threat against us. That was a threat against the entire world. I did this for the world. But yeah, I would say that I can guarantee you this, if I didn't put 100% tariff immediately on China, the entire world, because of magnets, a special kind of rare earth, etc., right, would be closed up. Without the benefit of tariffs, we would not. We had a very successful meeting with President Xi of China and others. And without tariffs, that would not have taken.
Fantasy land. Fantasy land. And it's not just Donald Trump. This effect, this thing has trickled down. It is infectious, apparently. It is like there's a pandemic that has only affected the Republican minds. Lisa McClain yesterday was on CNN and was talking about the impact of the election, this last election that just happened, where every single county in Virginia swung major to the left, huge. Every single, it was a bloodbath for Republicans electorally. New Jersey, Virginia, New York City, Prop 50 in California, the mayor's race in I believe, Detroit. It was just insane. And she says, I mean, obviously, I shouldn't have to explain it, but maybe I should. Obviously, that's because of people's dissatisfaction. That's because of the Republican policies and what the damage that are being done to people's lives, to people's pocketbooks, to people's communities, the masked secret police in the streets. I mean, every single element, every metric of Donald Trump's performance has been shitty. It has been terrible. And people know it. Even Republicans know it. And that's why they either stayed home or voted for Democrats. But not if you listen to Lisa McClain, Fantasyland. She says the reason there was such a blue wave, if you will, is because Republicans are so happy with the economy that they stayed home. Watch this.
Trump told Republicans earlier this morning, according to a source talking to CNN, that Republicans are getting killed politically on the shutdown. And if you look at what happened last night, it is hard to say that there is anything in the election results. And I'm looking at not just like, I get it, New Jersey's a Democratic state, but looking at Republican counties, looking at Republican sheriffs that lost their jobs. It's hard to see anything last night that was an endorsement of what the Republican Party is doing right now.
Yeah, well, let me give you the other side of that story. Is voter turnout from Republicans was not high, not high at all. But I think part of that reason is because Republicans, for the most part, are happy with what's happening. The border's closed, crime is down. Inflation under Biden used to be 9%. It's now down to 3%. Interest rates are down, mortgages down. Let me just finish. Let me just give you the other side. I shop at the same grocery store as everybody else does.
So you see prices are up.
Is there more work that needs to be done? Absolutely there is. That's why in the working families tax cut, we did just that. We voted not to raise everybody's taxes. Very different than what the Democrats did. So I think there's two sides of the coin that you have to take a look at. What is an incumbent on us is we must make sure that we get our voters to turn out like they did in the election year.
I mean,
no question.
Using that argument, your voters could be so happy that the Democrats take control of the House of Representatives next year. I mean,
right, and I'm very confident that we will not only hold the majority, but I am optimistic that we will actually gain the majority.
Well, that would be defying history. Congresswoman Lisa McClain from the great state of Michigan.
Fantasyland. And how can we expect anything from our political leaders? These are our lawmakers. Donald Trump signs the laws. Lisa McClain writes the laws, votes on the laws. How can we expect our situation to materially improve if they're not existing in the same reality that we are? That is a bananas thing to assert, that the reason Democrats crushed it on Tuesday night is because Republicans are so happy with Donald Trump that they stayed home. Remarkable stretch. Remarkable. What do you think? I'd love to hear from you. You can comment below this video, whether it be on Facebook or YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube and like and follow the Dollemore Daily Facebook page, please. Be a real assist for me. Be doing me a personal favor, a solid, if you will. You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line and get your voice on the record, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another. The headlines obviously talked about the passing of Trump's big, beautiful bill. But did you catch what the headlines did not make note of? This same beautiful bill hands over nearly 40 billion of our tax dollars to ICE per year. This is more money than most countries spend on their entire military. And we're granting it to our version of the secret police. Despite raids on the increase and Trump's near constant mention of deporting U.S. citizens, much of our mainstream media has avoided talking about this funding increase. Or worse, they have twisted the bill's language to frame this spending as good for the citizens of the United States. This should be the biggest story in America right now, and it's not. And look, you'd be naive to think that this is anything other than by design from the GOP. Tools like ground news are an essential part of your news consumption for examples just like this. By gathering the world's news in one place, organizing it by story, and then analyzing just how far right, how radical each unbiased source actually is, ground news will expose blind spots like this ICE funding, and it will give you more context than you can get anywhere else. Shouldn't we be learning from history? We have seen Trump's playbook before, and the comparisons to regimes of misinformation and terror are alarmingly plentiful. Ground news will help you stay ahead on immigration, the economy, or simply bring your attention to stories missing from your newsfeed. Both Ground News' app and their website are smarter, more reliable ways to access the news unfiltered, to stay informed in the face of MAGA wanting to keep us in the dark. Scan this QR code or head to ground.news/Dollemore now to score 40% off the same Vantage plan that I use, which gives you unlimited access for just $5 per month. Or simply click the link in the description below to begin saving big. The right is absolutely banking on you to be uninformed. Stay ahead and see all the news with Ground News.